Hi everyone, it's Mandy Liberty here, and I wanted to spend the next few minutes going over the features and benefits of the AFS AFM60 Absolute Encoder with Ethernet interfaces. So what I have with me today is actually a demo cutaway version of the AFM60 encoder. We don't unfortunately have too many of these demos anymore, but I still wanted to show this off to give you a good look on the inside and really discuss some of the features that went into the design that is a benefit of this particular encoder. So the first thing to point out with this construction is this encoder is optical, so we can see the code disk right there. That will give us our absolute position within its single rotation. The one thing to really point out about this is a really high resolution encoder. On the single turn side, we can go up to 18 bits of resolution or about 262,000 unique positions within one 360-degree turn. So we can get really, really high precision, really high resolution. But the nice thing about how we've constructed this is we are using a metal code disk internally. Some optical encoders out there will use glass code disks in order to get that high resolution. But glass code disks can be susceptible to shock and vibration. They could crack, they could shatter. So this allows us to be really, really robust and not have to worry about any of that in those types of applications, while maintaining really, really good performance. So that's for the single turn position. For the multi-turn position, you might notice these gears at the bottom here. Those mechanical gears are what keep track of the number of turns that the encoder will do. So this is a 12-bit multi-turn gear stage. So basically it can keep track of 4,096 rotations as well as the 18-bit of single turn resolution. And the main thing to point out here is I would say that something like this is fairly common in the industry. However, there are a few encoders out there that will keep track of their multi-turn position via a battery, which is not necessarily a true absolute encoder, because if the battery dies, then you may lose the position of the encoder itself. So the AFM60 is a true multi-turn absolute encoder, and that is how we keep track of the rotations. So on the top here for the Ethernet, there are a few things to point out. First, you'll notice that we do have multiple connectors here. So we have two connectors for the Ethernet connection. And actually, let me get rid of the... So for the Ethernet IP, Profinet, and EtherCAT, you can daisy chain your encoders together. There is an Ethernet switch in there that can handle that. And for the Ethernet IP variant, this also is compatible with device level ring, also known as DLR. And then at the top, we have our 4-pin power connector. Within here, you'll see these little deck switches. For the Ethernet-based encoders, you do have to set the IP address of the encoder itself. And there's two ways to do that. You can either do it through DHCP, or you can set a static IP address via these deck switches. So changing the position of these deck switches will change the last 3 digits of its IP address, and it'll keep that statically. The blue button in the corner here is to set its preset value. So as you mount the encoder onto the machine, if you'd like the encoder position to start at a specific value, whether that's 0, whether that's something else, instead of trying to turn the shaft through all of these rotations that it'll keep track of and sort of perfectly align all of those positions, all you have to do is hit that button and then it'll reset the position to whatever your preset value is. This, of course, can also be done over Ethernet, so it does not have to be done physically. Other things to point out on this encoder, we have a number of LEDs that will give you lots of information on its status. It'll let you know if the encoder is powered on, if the Ethernet is connected, and we also have some LEDs that will give you its diagnostic information. So if there are any errors or any problems, the LEDs will either flash or turn red, and will give you a quick visual indication of how things are going. All that information can, of course, also be found via Ethernet. So this gives you a lot of possibilities when it comes to condition monitoring or even preventative maintenance type tasks that is inherent with this encoder. So yeah, that is a quick product tour of the AFS AFM60 Ethernet. And again, this can come with either Ethernet IP, EtherCAT, or Profinet.